So the car world, much like life, goes in cycles. Every couple of years you get a brand new car. Like this car, we got a new Jetta in 2011. And then generally, after about 2 or 3 years the car's been on the market, they do what's called a mid-cycle refresh, where they kind of change things a little bit, keep things exciting, kind of like spicing up a relationship. So here, you've got a wider grille and new lights. Interesting, right? But what's really interesting is what's underneath the hood. If any of you have been watching the show for a while, you know that I am no stranger to diesels. This is the diesel. It is the same 2-liter diesel. It still puts out the same 236 pound-feet of torque. So it puts out an extra 10 horsepower. I know, 10 more horsepower. Doesn't sound exciting, that does it? Especially when we're looking at a 2-liter turbo diesel engine. But actually, it's an entirely new engine. You guys remember that film we shot back in May, the GTI? Same kind of deal there. It looked like the same engine. It was a 2-liter, but it's a totally new engine. Basically, Volkswagen is going with a modular strategy. First with platforms, we've got a film coming up for you on that topic. And now engines. The first step was the gasoline engines, and now the 4-cylinder turbo diesel engines. Think of this one as like the reference build. So this is a 2-liter turbo diesel with balance shafts. They make another version of this without balance shafts. Think of that as markets that are more price sensitive, so Seat and Skoda brands. Then they make another version of it that is a 1.6 liter. So yeah, the block will change in size, but one of the things that's really exciting about this strategy for us car geeks is the parts are kind of interchangeable. So the cylinder head, some of the intake pieces, all of those bits are interchangeable between the 2-liter with and without the balance shaft and the 1.6. So acceleration and pulling power are completely respectable here, but that's not what this car is about. This car is about a new engine, but more importantly, it's about the concept of what the new engine was designed around. So most Volkswagen diesel engines that have come before this have been designed around the Otto cycle or Otto compression cycle, where this, the new engine, is designed around the Miller compression cycle or the Miller cycle. So if you have an old Mazda or a locomotive, perhaps, you would understand this concept. And basically, it's a function of dealing with valve timing and how much air gets to the cylinder and how fast that air and what temperature that air gets to the cylinder. So for example, there are some times that the valve is left open longer, and there's other times that the valve is actually completely shut, even on the compression cycle, and the overall result is the engine itself has significantly higher compression. So that's the whiz-bang technology of the engine, but what about the rest of the car? Well, the inside is a significantly better place to be. If you saw our Jetta GLI Edizione Drastic film, you would know the interior on the GLIs have always been much nicer, but the base Jettas, the 2011 Jetta and newer, not a nice place to be. Now what they've done is the rest of the line has that better upmarket GLI interior. They're trying to make it equate to the Mark 7 Golf. So if you look at the trim pieces here, so this is from the GLI, but the trim pieces here, this is like straight out of the Mark 7 Golf, even this stuff here. You know, it dawned on me recently that we talk a lot about diesels on the show, but we've never talked about the history of diesels in the US, and it's a bit of a checkered past. It started back, I want to say in the early 70s, Mercedes started bringing over diesels. Actually before then, there was a small subsection of people that actually liked them. Then Volkswagen brought over in 1976, the Rabbit, a little Golf known elsewhere. It was a whopping 1.7 liters with a fire-breathing 50 horsepower. Then around the same time, General Motors started to jump into the fray, and they took their V8 gasoline engines and converted them into diesels. It was a horrible idea and basically shut down the diesel market in the US for many, many years. However, the likes of Volkswagen and Mercedes kept going with this whole thing. Volkswagen, they updated in 1983. They gave us a 1.9 liter diesel in the Vanagon that had almost a 50% increase in horsepower to 70. Then they went to a 2 liter, which went to 90 horsepower. Then from there, they went to 100 horsepower. This is all 4-cylinder. Along that whole time, Mercedes kept on going with diesels. It went from like 80% of their lineup in the US was diesels down to like 20% of their lineup was diesels, probably even less in the early 2000s. But then in 2006, Volkswagen pulled out the wild card and brought out the tree stump pulling Touareg with a 10-cylinder diesel, 310 horsepower. Then in 2008, they went to kind of what we know today, which is the common rail diesel. And now we have the new EA 288 diesel series, and that ain't no bull. Where I would like to see some changes is the suspension. And I've kind of said this before, in that Jetta hybrid, it is a German car. There's no doubt about it. It's on a downshift. I get some power. I go around a corner here. It is definitely a German car, but there's a little bit of lean there that you wouldn't get in the GLI or really the GTI. Because remember, you've got a longer wheelbase here, and I don't think Volkswagen has tuned this car to really compensate for the longer wheelbase of the Jetta. They've done it in the Mark 7 Golf, but they haven't done it here. So maybe we're going to get that in the Jetta replacement, but until then, I'd like to see some improvement in the tuning of the suspension to make this a more fun car to drive. Okay, so our newfound friends decided to leave us here. So while I go wrangle them up, I got a question for you guys. I know I go on and on and on about diesels and the fuel economy that I do, but what kind of fuel economy do you guys get in these things? I want to know what kind of driving you do, whether you do city or highway, commuting, that kind of stuff, and what are you returning in your MPG? Let me know in the comments below, or hit us up via our social networks, MotoManTV, all one word, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And while you're doing that, I'm either going to look for dinner or figure out a vegan alternative. So click here to watch one of our 250 other episodes, click here to subscribe, and can we ask you guys a favor? Can you watch these within the first 36 hours? Because it gets us more views, which gets us more dollars, which gets you more episodes. And of course, follow us, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll see you guys next time.